Perfect. So we're going to get into some more things just about Minnesota. Go to the next slide here. Perfect. Okay, so a few things that affect your pay for working in Minnesota. So making sure that everybody knows, overtime pay. Typically anything required over 40 hours in a work week, you should be paid time and a half. Pay stubs are required. So you should always receive an itemized pay stub of each pay period. That's something with Poppins. Every payday, you would automatically get a pay stub emailed to you, which is just nice to see all of your deductions and what breaks down to that net pay. Hourly pay is standardly, what the heck am I saying? Is standard, how about? Household employees are generally paid on the hour and not salary. And then having a written notice of pay and terms is required. You should always have the details like your pay rate, the schedule, the job expectations up front. And this is something that we can help your employer with. We have something such as a contract that they can kind of work off of. But for any nanny in this call, it is so beneficial to always ask for a contract up front, just laying out everything for your own protection. And then minimum wage laws. So this is a big one. We want to make sure as employees that you're getting paid what the state is requiring. We have, and I'm going to have Hannah post it in the chat here, but you can always check out our resource page for Minnesota, which is going to have all of the labor laws that we provide to your employer. But it's also a good resource to employees too, so that they know what they should be paid, all these different laws that go into place for Minnesota. But definitely make sure that, when you're starting a job, you're kind of looking over all of these things and standing up for yourself for what's right. Going to the next slide. Perfect. So a couple more benefits with Minnesota. So earned sick leave and safe time. So every employee who's a W-2 employee in Minnesota should be earning 1 hour for every 30 hours worked of sick and safe time. This is a cap of 48 hours per year, and it can be used for illness, appointments, anything that you might need to take that time for. Rachel just mentioned this, but workers' comp insurance. So this is something that your employers must apply for, they need to obtain. And again, this is just to cover you if there's any work-related injuries. You never want that to come down to you, that you have to cover your own, your own injury bills or whatever medical bills that might arise. Workers' comp is such an important thing, and it's so great that Minnesota actually requires employers to obtain this insurance. Not every state is that way, so that's a great thing. And then paid family medical leave. This is brand new to 2026 in Minnesota. A lot of states are starting to switch to make this a regulated tax that everybody has to pay into. Again, this is statewide. It's for extended leave. It covers medical, family, caregiving needs. And this is so important for you being a household employee that, you get this benefit. Why should you lose out just because you're being paid under the table? Get paid across board, make sure you have those taxes coming out. And if something comes up, you have this benefit, which is so great. And then rest and meal breaks. So required based on hours worked, and making sure that you get a break throughout the day, running around with those kids, that's exhausting. I'm a mother, so I can't even imagine, being a nanny and having those kids running around and stuff. It is exhausting. So making sure that you know that you're entitled to different rest and meal breaks throughout the day too. Perfect. So getting into a little bit more with this Minnesota paid family leave, it's a huge deal for nannies. So the catch is you can only access Minnesota paid family leave if you're classified as a W-2 employee. So if you're considered a contractor or you're being paid, technically under the table, you wouldn't get this benefit from the state if you ever needed it. The way it works is there's premiums that are withheld from your paycheck, and then it's matched by your employer. So both employer and employee are paying into this. And then what that means to you. So you can get up to 20 weeks of paid leave per year, depending on what the situation is. It covers your own serious health condition, covers bonding with a new child. So if you have a baby, this is something you can apply for with the state, and they'll pay up to 12 weeks. If anyone in your family becomes ill, you need to take care of them, this is something you can also apply for. And then it's funded through your payroll, the tax deductions from your paycheck. So a great new benefit for Minnesota employees for the whole state. And we can't stress this enough. This is such a huge, thing to take off your plate if anything was to happen that you need this paid time for. Perfect. And then for any employers in the call, we have a little snapshot on here of what it looks like in the tax settings. Up at the top, it starts with like the federal and state tax withholdings. And then if you scroll down a little bit, there's a place where you can choose the amount that you're going to contribute as an employer, and then your employee's tax withholdings too. So we just want to give a little glance into what our settings looks like here at Poppins.